And welcome back. It's time for this week's Capital Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. Pat, Greece has been on the brink of financial collapse, but they do seem to be working towards some sort of debt restructuring. Americans are asking themselves, does this matter to me, or is this just a European problem?
I want to make a historic and economic point rather than a specifically a point about Greece, and that is, if you think of the world as a coal mine, and I'm not making an environmental analogy either, but think of the world as a coal mine, Greece is the canary, chirping because there's gas, there's natural gas present, and it's harmful to the environment of the people working in the coal mine. I don't know what's going to happen. Ken Miller, the state treasurer, says Greece is not so much the problem, but what that might trigger. China has
for
lost,
us, you mean?
Yeah, for everybody.
Yeah.
China's lost 25% of its stock market value in less than a month. It does not appear to be working, the pump priming kinds of things that the Chinese are wont to do. The somber joke, of course, among economists is the bad news is that China has our debt. The good news is that China has our debt, but right now that might not be good news. If they start cashing in some of their chips. In Greece, the debt is 170% of GDP. Japan, the debt is 250% of GDP. The governor of Puerto Rico says that the Commonwealth is not going to be able to pay back the $73 billion in bond debt that it's carrying. U.S. debt is 103% of GDP. Long time ago, Mark Nuttall wrote a book called, he's an Oklahoman, but wrote a book called The Debt Bomb. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. It's trouble.
Now, you mentioned Ken Miller, the state treasurer. His latest assessment of gross receipts for the state, a bit sobering. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Ken is an interesting combination of pessimist and optimist. Sometimes he's the opposite of me. On this, he's not too worried about Greece. He is worried about our economy, which is appropriate. For the fourth time this fiscal year, the second month in a row, the total receipts were below what they were projected to be. The leading problem was the gross production tax revenues. They were down significantly. No wonder. Oil was $107 a barrel last June. It's $60 or so now. Sales tax revenue was also off. The rate of unemployment is upticked a little bit. In fact, the rate of unemployment went up in all but 2 of our counties in Oklahoma. We're hanging in there compared to the rest of the country and certainly the world, but there's cause for concern.
Okay. Finally, we've learned the president is going to be here next week. Any chance this is there's more to this than the announced purposes of the trip?
There might be. It's interesting he's coming on 2 things where I feel personal levels of some agreement with him. The first is criminal justice reform. He's long lamented the high levels of incarceration of people in general and African Americans in particular, and I agree with him on a lot, not every particular of his analysis. Finally, he's coming to talk in Indian country. I think he's a reformer in Indian country, but I have more sympathy for the smaller tribes than the larger ones. And he's going to be out at El Reno. So I'm kind of intrigued to see if he might take action on that long-standing issue of the land right at and around the historic Fort Reno, which belongs to the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribe, not the federal government.
Be watching to see what happens.
But they haven't fixed it yet.
All right, well, you can read more about these and other topics at CapitolBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a great day.